All right, this assignment is called the nitrogen cycle. You may have been assigned this as a class assignment or as homework. Let me work on the focus there a little bit. All right, so it should be reviewing what you learned about the nitrogen cycle and what you need to know. Okay, I hope that'll stay. There we go. All right, so it says, using the word bank below, fill in the boxes to describe the players in the nitrogen cycle. And here's your word bank right down here. I know some students like to just put the number as long as it's correct and you understand it. That will work, but I think it's really much better for your brain if you actually write what's going on in the boxes. All right, so if we begin, say, with something really familiar, maybe you recognize it right away. You know, if you're having a little bit of trouble, that looks like a mushroom, which is a fungus. That looks like death. So if we look down here and see what would really fit there, we know fungus and bacteria decompose. So in this box right here, that's what I would put. Decomposition. By fungi and bacteria. And again, even on these, it's good to use colors, you know, and go back and highlight. This one, we have that symbol for death. So let's kind of look around and see what, and if you want to, you can even cross out the number if you'd like. So what fits this best is for number 4. This is dead organisms. And of course, don't forget about waste from living things. Okay, so we'll cross that one off. So we've got rid of some of our easier ones to identify. Here's another one that's pretty easy to identify right there. That looks a lot like lightning, which is number 2. We'll cross that off. All right, here we have nitrates, nitrite, ammonium, atmospheric nitrogen, all labeled for us. And we do have some plants. So here's a plant here. It looks like here's a root with nodules going on there. This one looks like bacteria. That one looks like bacteria. And that one looks like bacteria. So that'll give us kind of an idea. That one looks like bacteria. Alrighty. So let's think about what plants do. So plants, they take up nitrogen that has been fixed or fixated by bacteria. If it doesn't get fixated by bacteria or lightning, they can't use it. So those two things, the bacteria in the soil and the lightning, are really important. And it seems odd because they seem to have nothing in common, but they do perform nitrogen fixation. So we'll put right up here, most plant uptake, and we can cross out number 3. All right, so if we go over here, we know that the legumes, the roots, have nodules that have nitrate fixing bacteria. Also, that would take up the bacteria, the nitrogen, and fixate it and send it out to the atmosphere. So what fits here best is nitrogen fixing bacteria in legume root nodules. And if you're curious, look up what the word legume is. And you'll know which plants do that. Okay, so we move along here. We've got a lot of bacteria left. So we did number 5. Alright, so here we mentioned that lightning and bacteria in the soil will fixate nitrogen. So let's put that one there. Okay. And then we have bacteria that denitrifies nitrogen in the soil, so it'll return those nitrates and nitrites back to atmospheric oxygen. These are called denitrifying bacteria. Okay, we're getting close now. And then I have the word ammonium here, and I have number 8 that kind of matches that, so I can pretty much put that one there. Ammonium oxidizing bacteria, and that leaves just your one left, the nitrites. Nitrite oxidizing bacteria. Okay, and that takes care of all 9 of those. Now look at what we have below here. We have some narratives. Good practice for a state test. Nitrogen is found in abundance in the atmosphere as N2. That's a gas. But this is a gas, and it's not biologically available to organisms until it is fixed into ammonia ions, so that chemical reaction must occur. Nitrogen available to organisms to use is often the limiting ingredient, the limiting factor that determines plant productivity in the ecosystem. Number 10, when farmers add fertilizer to soil, what are they normally adding to the soil? What forms of the nitrogen? Look this up if you don't know. So let's talk about common fertilizers. Contain nitrogen, such as ammonia, ammonium nitrate. So we kind of saw that above. We see some ammonium and nitrites, which is a form of a nitrate. And we'll add another one here called urea, which I hope you found that in your research. Okay, next. Much of the nitrogen that humans add to the soil ends up in our streams, rivers, and ocean. An increase of nitrogen in the waters can change the pH of the water. It can cause lower levels of oxygen in the water, and it can affect which organisms live there. One consequence of increased aquatic nitrogen is toxic algal blooms. What is an algal bloom or algal bloom? Hopefully you would look that up, and you may have seen these. There is a pond near in a park, Tom's Park, near Vanguard, and many times when I drive by, especially in the warmer parts of the year, it's covered with a thick film of green scum, which is really indication of an algal bloom from runoff that contains fertilizers. So algal blooms are large increase of algae in an area. Remember, these algae can be toxic, and this can happen in the ocean as well. So you may have noticed this happening during certain seasons out in the oceans, like a red tide is a type of algae. Okay, often the water changes color because of the dramatic increase of algae. So that fertilizer running into those freshwater ponds and in lakes and rivers just upsets the balance. 12. How do algal blooms affect other life in the surrounding area? Okay, so the algae, we've witnessed this, so we've heard it on the news at least. The algae can grow very quickly. In water containing nitrogen rich runoff. So the algae doesn't actually live long. Basically, it's a protist and some bacteria. So they die off. Causes a high concentration of dead matter. And as it decays, the oxygen in the water is used up. Okay, so this is in addition to if it is a toxic algae, it's releasing chemicals that can kill fish. So when you have less oxygen, another double whammy. That'll mean many animals beneath, and plants need oxygen too, will die. Basically, they're suffocated. Okay, so that upsets the whole balance. Alrighty, so you may have done research, and it should be something really simple to similar to this. You can brush up your answers. That would be great. And again, you can rewind if you'd like to. I'm not sure if this is going to be turned in. Please consult your instructor. And always remember your name and class and date on anything that you turn in. Thank you.